Sure. Well, my name is Blue Curry, and I'm going to be working with the Salvation Army charity shop here on Deptford High Street to put together a project for Deptford X. And what I'll be doing is basically using the charity shop as a space to show art. So as a non-traditional space, and rather than kind of positioning the artworks in a sort of rarefied way, they'll just be mixed and intermingled with all of the other tat in the charity shop. So I'll be making works which kind of will just work with the environment, and that people will come in and discover with all of the other stuff that's in a charity shop. It's a kind of depository for everything and anything, and so in a way, kind of, it'll be easy for me to fit my pieces in here. Well, I've shown work since finishing my degree. I've shown work in Deptford and kind of gotten to know the area a lot better as I was studying in New Cross. So I've kind of gotten to know Southeast London a lot better, taken a studio in Bermondsey. So I've become more and more familiar with Deptford, and so yeah, this just seems like a kind of a logical thing for me to do, to participate in the Deptford X Festival, which is yeah, it feels a little more homegrown and not as kind of yeah, not as stiff as a lot of other things which I've participated in or could sign up for. So it's just nice to be involved in something which feels like a local festival, but yet it has a really good profile as a fine art festival. So it kind of it does both things at once. So it's yeah. So I think that's why I'd want to be involved with Deptford X, or I am involved with Deptford X this year. Yeah, I guess, I mean, the venue itself, the charity shop, I chose it because I've been in any number of times over the years and always found it to be interesting and sort of curious. And I mean, I know that charity shops, you could say that they're always interesting and curious, but this one in particular has a certain environment about it which seems like it's quite it just felt like a place I wanted to work with. So so yeah, I just came down and approached them about it, and that it sounds like it's going to be an interesting kind of process of negotiating kind of how to display the works, where they'll be displayed, and kind of how the viewer will interact with them, because some people will be coming in looking for art and other people are coming in looking for bargains, and so it's kind of like the work will sit somewhere in between art and a bargain, and so that kind of interests me, that it can that I can just position the work in this way and not be all sort of precious about it. So it has to just kind of people are going to handle it, people are going to move it around, and potentially people might try to buy it. It is just the kind of ethos of the festival itself. Like, this is the first time I've participated in Deptford X, but I've attended other Deptford X festivals, and I've always read the kind of thinking around the projects, which are at once critical and at the same time very much about the local. And so you just I don't think you find that in a lot of other festivals in London. Either they're catering to one thing or the other, and so like you will find that Deptford X will get a review in a fine art magazine, and so it's like, well, it's totally a local festival, but it's doing both things. So yeah, I think that's why I would like I have no qualms at all participating in Deptford X, and I'm quite happy to be given the opportunity to.
My name's Nicholas Cornwell. I'm a sculptor. The work I'm producing is based on the Pearly Kings. I've got a family member who's a Pearly King, and the suits have always fascinated me about how they tell a story. So I'm looking at producing a piece based around that will show a narrative of the life and times of people in Deptford. This has been here a few years. This is a coffee shop gallery. It's just having a refit at the moment, so I wanted to use this space because this is a nice sort of corridor for people to walk backwards and forwards. It's an area whereby you can look at work, you can stand back without fear of being run over by cars, things like that. So it's a really nice sort of space here. So it's one that I've been fascinated with for a few years. So to get a space here is really good for me. Another reason I like this space is because it's not a gallery space. I've exhibited a lot in gallery spaces, and unlike this, it's somewhere that's not. It's not, it's not this high prestige, high art type of scenario. So it's quite nice. The piece itself, because it's to do with the Pearly Kings and Queens, and it's based on the Pearly Kings and Queens. It's I'm looking at the other side of it. Is that they do all their work they do for charity now, which is why at the end of the festival we're going to be auctioning off the suit for charity. I was part of Deptford X on the Fringe programme in 2008. I really like the idea of working within a festival programme. I felt that it with a general theme that everybody works to is really interesting. You can really sort of feed off other people's ideas, and I really overall enjoyed it because it's like a family, So to get on the main programme this year is a real treat for me this year. So very pleased. I feel I've grown up with Deptford X because I've been in Deptford for quite a few years, and I was first aware of it I think on the third Deptford X Festival. So and I've seen lots and lots of artists and lots of friends have exhibited in Deptford X. So I feel it's almost like I don't want to say it's a stepping stone because it's got some really sort of big artists have been in the festival, but it's certainly a key programme, a key event for a lot of artists, and it's.
So my name's Sally Hogarth, and I'm an artist that works a lot with public artworks. I do a lot of video work, and for Deptford X I'm doing a 2D billboard piece at the end of Deptford High Street. The piece is working with the No More Chain Stores campaign that's been happening in New Cross and Deptford recently. The idea is the local shops, independent shops, have been working together against the incoming global businesses that are moving into the area. For example, there's another Sainsbury's moving in just down the road as well. So it's working with that campaign, or the idea of that campaign. The piece was created with thinking about the idea of a billboard and the hierarchy of powers that exist within that. And I wanted to work with the independent shops in the area to give them a chance to be on a billboard and play with that relation. So the idea is I'm making a collage of all the independent shop signs, or many of them in the high street, into the shape of a traditional fishing knot. The fishing knot is a nod towards Deptford's maritime past and the town's history, and it's also to do with the independent identity of Deptford. And what often happens within renewal is that often the independent and the local businesses that people identify with and connect with often get pushed out and replaced by clone, like essentially creating a clone town that looks the same as every other high street in London. So and the New York Times has said that Deptford, this is a while ago, was one of the best places to go if you want to see the real London or an original part of London. And with the regeneration, it's important to keep these independent shops alive and going. So it's kind of a celebration of their uniqueness and giving them a chance to kind of readdress the hierarchy that billboards have. So I started thinking about what that was in place and how that worked with global businesses. The idea is to put their images back onto the billboard. I love Deptford X. I first showed in it when I first graduated. I went to Goldsmiths, so I've lived in the area as well, and Deptford X is a really great arts festival, and one of the areas which I think it really shines at is that it's so accommodating to ideas that are more out there, so they're not just about creating works to go in a gallery space, they're thinking outside the box, or like outside the white cube as it were, and they really are flexible with more innovative ideas that use the public space as well. So that's what I really love about Deptford X.
My name's Katie Surridge and I'm a sculptor. I've got my studio based just down the road in Deptford. The work I do uses a lot of found materials, but quite natural found materials like bones, old wood and plastic which has kind of been warped by time. I'm particularly interested in the river down by Rotherhithe. So for my piece I've been collecting loads of bones and driftwood to start using. What I'm going to be making is these kind of sculptural bird feeders for outside, and it started off as just I wanted to kind of get nature to interact with kind of natural objects I've been using. So they're going to be hanging from a big tree in a nature reserve. So the tree almost becomes part of the sculpture because there's going to be loads. So loads of these lumps with all bones and nails and jars, and then on that I'm going to put bird food, which will hopefully attract birds, but I don't know if I can guarantee that. And then in the nature reserve there's going to be totem poles with platforms for the birds to land on as well. Okay. Deptford X is really exciting for me because it's a chance to kind of get to meet all the other artists working in the area. I find like in my studio in Deptford you feel quite isolated, and it's really nice to kind of be part of this project and see what everybody's doing and open it up to the public as well, which is really important. Deptford X feels quite raw and quite new in its approach. I like the way you have to hunt for things, like nothing's kind of given to you on a plate in terms of the artist showing, and that's kind of how I look for my materials as well. Like I never know what I'm going to use, so I'm always kind of scouting around for things, and it's nice to kind of put that practice into finding the art again almost. So it kind of works quite well for me, like looking for materials to use, and then you have to look for my art in this show, so that's quite nice.